These days, it's easy to get lost in the vast sea of boring jelly bean crossovers, and I often find myself thinking, why are there so many? Are they all really that different? And part of my job on this channel is trying to differentiate all of them and see what some of them do better than others, and if any of them have any standout characteristics. Now, this is the 2026 newly facelifted Kia Sportage Hybrid, and in today's video, I'm hoping we can find some things about it that stand out, or at least find some reasons to buy it over the competition. So today you join me in downtown Ann Arbor, Michigan on like a subsection of the roof of a parking structure because the top of it's shut right now for some reason, for construction, I assume. And today we're going to see what this new facelifted Kia Sportage is like to live with, and also I want to see if this matches its EPA estimated 35 MPG combined. But before we get into the driving portion, why don't we poke around this and also tell you what's new for 2026. Now, keen-eyed viewers will have noticed some new wheels and also some new fascias. This kind of got rid of its controversial front end for the 2026 model year. It's more so adopted this corporate Kia look. I think the K4 might have started this with these DRLs that look like a backwards 7, or I guess it would be a 7 going the right way on this side. Yep, there you go. But the body's the same. It's got new fascias. There's also some changes inside. This particular one is the SX Prestige. It's finished in Heritage Blue. I think this color looks quite nice on it. Not fully sold on the 4-spoke wheels, but I'll let you guys decide if you like those in the comments. This one, as tested today, is about $41,000. Now, this is an all-wheel drive hybrid top trim. The Sportage Hybrid in front-wheel drive base model form starts just over $30,000, and the Sportage in non-hybrid form starts at about $28,000. So this is a pretty cheap way to get yourself into this compact SUV segment, and I think looks-wise, this looks pretty nice. I mean, I think it's subdued enough where you blend in traffic and no one really looks at you, but this is something you can walk out to in the driveway and think, all right, yeah, that looks pretty decent, I guess. But anyway, why don't we poke around this and show you what it looks like inside and out, and then we'll jump in it and we will go for a real-world commute and get off of this windy parking structure. Let's start in the back. This is, of course, just a 2-row SUV, so you do have quite a bit of room back here. And if we lift up our dealer accessory floor mat that lets you know that the max load back here is 130 pounds, you find an compact spare. I always like to see that underneath the trunk floor, and this is something I feel like is dying these days. And actually, it's extra cool to see this in an all-wheel drive hybrid. Also back here, we have this little power outlet. We have a privacy shade to hide your precious goods if you are carrying any of those back here, and physical pull handles to fold down the second row seats. Now, I haven't done this yet, so I don't know if these fold flat. I'm going to assume that they don't. Oh, they actually fold down. Okay, not completely flat, but at least you can see, you know, a pretty decent idea of what kind of room you would have back here if you are hauling things. And these actually lock down, which I like. You can unlock them here with this little adjuster, which means you can adjust your backrest as well while sitting in the back. Always like to see that. That side must not have locked in. There we go. Okay. In the back seat of the 26 Kia Sportage, I've got plenty of legroom. Sat behind myself at 5'11", and the interior of this SX Prestige is lined in things that I didn't necessarily expect. We've got this really nice Alcantara on the top of the seats, fold-down armrest. We've got all this, I don't think this is real leather. I think this is Tex in here, but if I'm incorrect, I'll correct myself on the screen after checking the Monroney. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is the mix of materials back here is okay. I mean, you still have some scratchy plastic on the top of the door panels and things, but little details in here, like the door handles are quite nice. You've got heated rear seats in this SX Prestige model, 2 seat back pockets, hangers on the back of the seats, and USB-C ports, and a little cubby right there. Very small drivetrain hump. I think a normal-sized adult could fit in the middle for short journeys, so able to use all of the provided seat belts in this Kia Sportage. But yeah, back seat seems to be pretty good. I've got plenty of headroom as well, even with this panoramic roof situation going on here. That is one advantage you get buying a compact SUV over just a compact car. The equivalent to this would be buying a Kia K4, which does have pretty good amenities, but if you just need that much more, if you need all-wheel drive, this is your only choice. And the K4 hatchback has not come out yet in the States, or I actually don't know if it's come out anywhere yet. But anyway, let's talk about what we have under the hood. That is a very heavy hood with no struts. That's okay. We will put this little guy in over here. And I'm actually going to hold this because it's quite windy. I don't want the hood to go flying. But this is a turbocharged 1.6-liter inline 4-cylinder engine paired with a new electric motor for the, or I should say revised electric motor for the 2026 model year, now producing 231 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. This has a 6-speed automatic, and as we discussed earlier, it is all-wheel drive. This is up, I think, 3 or 4 horsepower from the pre-facelift car, just because they've done that revised electric motor. And the 6-speed automatic is usually what you see in these Kia and Hyundai hybrid cars. And it's actually cool to see something a little bit different, because companies like Toyota and Honda, you know, they have their own versions of the CVT, or Honda has their 2-motor hybrid system. So it's kind of cool to get into a hybrid that just has a regular torque converter automatic. Actually, before we jump in, let's talk tires. This has a Hankook. That's always a little bit of a worrying sight. Hankook Dynapro HP2 in 235/55 R19 squared setup. Love to see a 55 section sidewall on a top trim car, even with a 19-inch wheel. I think it's good that they didn't go for a 20 or a 21. That would have been a bit preposterous for this, even though these wheels are, I don't know, square center caps. Look like they'd be very easy to pop out, but we're not going to try. Okay, now let's go ahead and jump in this thing. You can see up front door panels are a little bit better quality, or maybe they do match pretty well. Yeah, I guess they match just about exact, or completely exact. Okay, good on Kia for being consistent with the door panels. Harman Kardon sound system, 2 memory seat settings. More of this nice Alcantara on the seat uppers here. I do worry about that getting dirty, but I think it's high up enough to where, I don't know, people usually don't have dirty shoulders, so that might actually stay white. The parts of the seat that would get dirty are leather. You'll be able to just wipe that off. And jumping up front, sitting down, the first thing you see is this new steering wheel, which looks like something General Motors or Ford would have made in the 90s, but it's similar to what you get on the Kia K4. I think, like I said earlier, I think that kind of started the new sort of corporate design language that Kia is going for. But there's a lot of things on this that are just kind of funky, and that's kind of what you have to do to stand out in this segment. You got to have the 4-spoke wheels. You got to have the weird 2-spoke steering wheel to stand out in the 2026 model year in this vast segment. So let's go ahead and start this up and show you what else we got going on here. So this now has dual 12.3-inch screens. You've got the digital gauge cluster and the infotainment. This now also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. How about that? Things that should have been standard years ago, but we have them now actually on every model in 2026. Doesn't matter what trim you get, it'll have the wireless CarPlay. We've got this panel down here that we saw in the Kia Sorento as well that switches your climate and media back and forth. So this knob on the left acts as a volume knob and a temperature knob, which, I don't know, I still haven't gotten used to this. I find myself getting overwhelmed when I want to turn the music down and it's on the climate and I'm like, oh, I want to have my climate up, and then I go for this. And let me tell you, to operate this volume knob, you need to make sure you are very well moisturized, because my very dry December Michigan thumb just kind of slips right over it. You got to really push, but then if you push too hard, you mute the music altogether. So just something to consider. Drive modes have moved to the steering wheel as well. We've got Eco Sport and My mode. We'll leave this in Eco for the time being. And then since this is an all-wheel drive model, we have terrain modes as well: snow, mud, and sand. So that's pretty neat that is not exclusive to the X Pro trim or X line, whatever they call it in the Sportage. We've got a physical dimmer switch over here, which has 100 adjustment levels. We saw this in the Hyundai Palisade we were driving earlier this week too. Hidden compartment with a wireless charger. You can see my phone is sitting in here right now, and I am going to plug it in because I have this running wired CarPlay, even though I know it has wireless, but we're just doing wired for today. Hide that back away. Heated ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, dial shifter. We've got a button a physical button for our parking cameras, and these silly Volkswagen style cup holders that pop out. But I actually like this because it means that you can use this area for more than just cups. If you have some sort of L-shaped thing that you need to put in here, you can do it. Center console big enough to fit my hat, and otherwise, I mean, I think design-wise up here, the steering wheel is a little bit weird looking, and it does kind of feel weird in the hands because it's not perfectly round. But otherwise, everything seems to work pretty well. So why don't we go ahead and start our journey? The car has reset the trip for us. So let's go ahead and get this out on the road and see what it's like to drive. Okay, into reverse. We'll pull up the cameras that you guys already saw, but you can see 360 and reversing camera, actually pretty high quality. We've got leading lines, parking sensors as well, get me right up to that snow. And into drive, we'll pull up the front camera. I need to wipe these off. These are like pretty dirty right now, but 'tis the season. Freezing, thawing, salting, roads are crumbling, you know, all the good Michigan stuff in December. But since we're not on the roof today, we actually don't have to do much parking structure maneuvering. But the little bit that we are doing demonstrates and shows off the very nice light steering that you have in this Kia Sportage. This is a really nice size, really easy to maneuver. And every time I drive one of these, I'm like, okay, I understand why people go for cars in this segment, because they're just easy. I mean, the engineers, obviously, they have people in mind, right? Like just normal people. I mean, we stop here, Ford Escape, Ford Escape, Ford Escape, Subaru Crosstrek, Mazda CX-5. I mean, these cars are Bronco Sport. They're everywhere. Everybody drives these. And I mean, you get in one and you kind of start to understand because they make everything easy. Collision warning. But you don't have to worry about ground clearance. You can run curbs over. You can go over speed bumps at speed. And I suspect up here I'll be at the perfect height to pay my parking ticket.
Please insert your ticket with the barcode facing up.
Yep.
Or scan your monthly card.
Check it out. I'm actually a little bit high.
Insert
Not in that way. Let's get this out onto the city streets. Actually, that's a new Kia Carnival. You can see that's got the new corporate design language as well. That looks quite nice. And the 4-spoke wheels, kind of. Now, here's the biggest thing with a hybrid is you always want your inputs to be smooth and natural, because with the car being electric and internal combustion, you want your transitions to be not noticeable. You want your throttle inputs to be nice and smooth. And I'm happy to report, actually, that the Kia Sportage does a fantastic job with this. I don't know that this BMW X3 exactly knows what they're trying to do, but we'll get around them. Brake pedal is lovely as well. You can get your limo stops in. Very nice and smooth. And it's so funny because you'd think, right, turbocharged 1.6 liter hybrid with a torque converter 6-speed automatic, you'd think this would be a mess, but somehow it all works together in perfect harmony. And I wouldn't say that a Toyota system or a Honda system is really any smoother than this. I mean, obviously you have the gear shifts from the 6-speed auto, but any transition you have from EV to ICE, you don't notice it at all. And actually, since we're stopping here, I'm gonna go left. Able to very easily take off in EV mode, and I did not even feel that transition. Steering ratio is pretty good too. I think it's quick enough where you're not doing a ton of hand-over-hand motions in city settings like this. Battery is a little low on juice, so we are running that 1.6 liter quite a bit currently, which means the car is showing 13.3 MPG. It's okay. I think we'll see some improvements once we get a little bit more charge in this battery. You can see on these crumbling roads, wow, this is worse, way worse than it was last time I drove through here. Ride quality is fantastic. Just a fixed damper in here. But even on the 19-inch wheel, we've got a big enough sidewall. The funniest thing about these is since the electric motor is in front of the transmission, when you're in EV mode, the shifts go through the 6-speed. So it's like you're driving a 6-speed automatic electric. Well, it is, because you're driving a 6-speed automatic electric car. So that's kind of neat, you know, a little bit of a different sensation. But I'm getting to the point where I can't even really like say this is unique anymore, because all of these Hyundais and Kias, they all use this. So it's just becoming quite normal. I'm going to see how long I can keep this in EV mode from this light. Probably just annoy the traffic behind me, but it's for research. Into second, 13, only up to 13 miles an hour. Yeah, this battery, you can see you have a battery gauge here. But you're able to just sort of whir around. You can hear that exterior EV noise. The 1.6 liter is super quiet too, even when you're giving it the beans. Don't really hear it complaining all that much. This is just a very pleasant car to commute with, especially in a city center, because not only is it very smooth, as we've said 50 times, but the sizing of this is really just about perfect. I mean, maneuverability is good. You can make your pass on this narrow road here, and the car doesn't feel massive, partly because it isn't massive, but also the visibility out of this is quite nice too. I can see everything I want out of the side mirrors, even though this is a very cheap looking rear view mirror that has no home link, no auto dimming, you know, none of that stuff. It actually does kind of like devalue the interior a bit. I can see everything I need out of the back, even with the rear headrests folded up. More of a problem with, you know, 3-row vehicles, but yeah, I can see just fine out of this. And those turn signal cameras do help too. Visibility out of the front, since the hood kind of slopes downwards, it's a little bit hard to place, but since it's so short and you have all the cameras in this, I don't see you having really any problems with it. It's easy to assume where the front of the car is, and I've had no problems parking this week. Not that you would with a car this size, but just to add, my goodness, yes, we are going over all of the potholes. You do not need to swerve in a Kia Sportage. This will just take it all quite happily, honestly. Now, you are also able to get the Sportage in plug-in hybrid form, but it's about $9,000 more expensive base to base, and that is because they make you get a higher trim if you're going to get the plug-in, so I understand. But I think this hybrid might be the sweet spot, because it's only about $2,000 more. I like this license plate, begin. It's only about $2,000 more than the base model. It's quite a bit more efficient, and I feel like hybrids are kind of just the way as far as daily drivers go. Like, they make the most sense, especially if you're doing something like this. You know, you're doing some mixed driving. Hybrids are not really going to give you the biggest advantage on the highway, but if you're doing lots of city driving, that is where they shine. I say this as I'm getting 21 MPG right now, but I think that'll keep improving. We're getting a little bit more charge in this battery now. He's got the music going too. I'm actually probably going to get a copyright strike for that, so we'll cut this out. And once you're actually up to speed, it's still relatively quiet in here. I mean, this is not to the level of like a Palisade or a Telluride, of course, or even really a Sorento, but I think for the class, we've got enough sound deadening in here. Also have to comment on interior build quality, going over some of these bumps. No rattles that I can tell. And this time of year is very telling because it's cold. I mean, right now, apparently it's 48, which is unbelievable. Is it actually 48 degrees out right now? I was just outside, but yeah, it does actually feel warm out. Wow, okay. Cars like this, it's really hard to find anything wrong with them. Like, this car does pretty much everything well. Like, the only thing I don't super love is the panel that switches back and forth from climate to media. But at least you have this backup physical little roller here on the steering wheel to adjust your volume in a pinch if you need to. You don't have to do the extra click down here. It's really hard to find flaws, and this whole segment is kind of like this. They're all just kind of in the middle. They all do everything pretty well, which is why sometimes I don't understand how people even choose. These Kias always have their fuse panels down by your knee, which means if you're bored in traffic, you can just pull it off and fidget with it. But, well, hey, why don't we test out this Harman Kardon sound system while we are just sitting in this traffic and see how that is. I've played this song so many times now that it's like number 5 or 6 on my on-repeat playlist on Spotify. This is going to be in my Wrapped next year, I just know it. Maybe we should switch it up. We've had this song for a while, so maybe here, if I think of it soon, we'll get a new song. Get this thing merged, trying to keep this windshield clean. Really nice torque. Okay, now the Harman Kardon's pretty good. Okay, we can hear that. Pretty decent highs, pretty decent power, which is good because a lot of these old Hyundais and Kias had no power. They've addressed that. What I want to talk about was the way that this merges. Now, with this just having a 6-speed automatic, it doesn't have a ton of gears to choose from. It only has 6, which means it's able to use this torque, this 271 pound-feet, to get you up to speed without really having to downshift. Sometimes it'll drop a gear, which is fine, that's quick and easy, but this doesn't have to go from like 6th to 2nd to be able to get you where you need to be, and I like that. I like a torquey car that's confident, that doesn't have to do a whole lot to go a short distance. The powertrain tuning here is really nice. I mean, you saw it be nice and smooth and reserved in the city, and now you're seeing it on the highway, able to make confident passes. I mean, this is just a Kia Sportage hybrid. It's not like it's a performance car, but a good way to judge like a car that's safe to drive on the highway and also a car that's easy to drive is having adequate power, and this has that. It very much has that. And I love to see it in this car that is otherwise, admittedly, it's quite boring, okay? It's a boring car. Most things in this segment are, but if the car is easy to live with, that's what these are supposed to do. They're supposed to make your life easier. And this Kia Sportage does. It really does. Good washer nozzles. It's got one on the back too. I'll show you that. When you push it forward, it does the back. See that? Anyway, back to the Cloverleaf. Road holding is pretty good. Steering weights up enough when you're at a higher speed. But this is the thing though, I mean, this car it's doing its thing. I really can't even hear the 1.6 liter at all. It just exists in the background. And that is the way these cars should be. They shouldn't be buzzy. At the end of the day, this is still a $41,000 Kia, so I should be getting some niceness here for my $40,000. And, well, it's here. The niceness is present. But I really do think what I love the most about this car is just how easy it is. It's easy to get in and out of, you know. It's easy to get in here, have your phone paired to the wireless CarPlay. All of the gauges make sense. Most of the buttons make sense. It's just straightforward, and think some of the exterior design things that they've done have brought it up to make it a bit more interesting for 2026. But this is still a Kia at the end of the day, which means we have many driver aids. Many driver aids. This has adaptive cruise control, steering assist, and if you hold this, lane keep assist. Now this doesn't have the full suite with the lane change assist. I don't know, can you get that on any Kias? Maybe the Telluride. Or did the Sorento? I can't even remember now, but these cars you can also, some of them have the lane change assist, which is stupid. Very stupid. Does not, it's not beneficial in any way. So I'm happy to see that this only has these few things, the nice trifecta here. Adaptive cruise, which you can adjust your distance here. We're gonna move in a little bit closer. But what I like about these cars is they do let you go quite a while without having to touch the steering wheel. We'll come up here and we'll make our pass. Ooh, and this starts accelerating as soon as you put the turn signal on. Love to see that. That is what you want with adaptive cruise. Yeah, no, this all works fine. I mean, they've been at this for a while. I remember driving a Kia Rio back in the day. This was probably in 2021, and it had a very similar system, and it worked very well too. So Kia and Hyundai, they've been at this for quite a while, and you know, they're constantly improving. These systems don't feel incredibly technologically advanced, but I think they're good enough just to kind of get the job done. Enough for you to, if you need to take your jacket off or something, you know, if you need to take your hands off the steering wheel for a second, these are able to assist you in that. All right, we're going to kill the cruise control, we're going to kill the steering assist, and we're going to kill the lane keep. Very easy to turn everything on and off. It's all physical buttons on the steering wheel. Love that even with the integration of this new wheel, it still has actual buttons. They're not haptic touch, so you can still use them easily. They've thought about humans with thumbs. See that? Nice. Actual ergonomics in this cabin, quite nice as well. We talked about seating position a bit earlier, easy to see out of, but also elbows rest at about the same height, not the softest surfaces. The driver's door panel is a little bit softer than the center console, but I've seen older Kia Sportages and the center consoles usually hold up pretty well. So I think they make this more for longevity. They figure that, you know, somebody's going to drive this car for the entire 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty period, so the armrest has to hold up. I think they're soft enough for what they are. And this isn't really a luxury car. It's just kind of it's a compact SUV with the luxury trim, the SX Prestige. So maybe it would be nice to have something different here for SX Prestige, but it gets the job done. Seat comfort's pretty nice as well. I've got lumbar adjust here. And as we showed you earlier, 2 memory seat settings. Right, looks like we're ending out our commute here. 29.4 MPG. Not the worst for the time of year. Also, hybrids usually, it's tough for hybrids in the winter in Michigan to meet their EPA estimated combined figure. Oh, look at that, we're over 30. 11.8 miles, just about half an hour, 30 MPG. Now we're going to go up here and ruin that on the performance section. Just want to show you guys, it was about to be a crash there. Just want to show you guys what this is like if you take it around some corners. Very cool stripes on that Touareg. Some Martini vibes going on there. Pretty sweet. Let's switch this into sport mode, as Tedward would say. Tedward, you've infected my brain with saying sport mode. Very easy, actually. I know I said that thing about thumbs earlier, but it's very easy to just, boom, sport, done. And then this has steering wheel mounted paddle shifters, which are not unusual in hybrids these days, but these do what just regular paddle shifters do. They control the 6-speed automatic. They don't control your regen. Permission to say that this is actually kind of quick. Like, this car is actually pretty quick. 271 pound-feet of torque, and it feels like it. It feels actually maybe like a little bit more. Into the brakes. He's going straight. Now this doesn't rev very high. Shifts itself at about 5,500 RPM, and I think that kind of helps it stay quiet And it also probably helps the longevity of this engine. When you're in sport, when you take your foot off the accelerator, you can feel all of that regen. Let's use these paddles. Get this down into third. Let's go second if it'll give it to me. Yep. A little late to my gear change there. That's okay. These paddles are, they're more of a suggestion than they are a command. Let's put this back into drive. You can do that by holding one of the paddles. And we'll go back into eco. Actually, we'll go to my mode so you guys can see what this cluster looks like. But yeah, it's fine to hustle it around a corner. It does that with no problem. So I think this gets just about everything right, honestly, as far as driving goes. It's smooth in a city setting. It's quiet. The ride quality is good. It can merge on the highway with all of the confidence. It's got plenty of torque. It's quick. You can take it around a corner without having to worry. I mean, I always think about if you live somewhere where you have to take a canyon road, like if you live in California or something, and you're driving canyons on the way to work, you know, you don't want to be holding everyone else up. You want to be able to take those corners confidently. This can do that with no problem. Horn's pretty good too. It's not a meep horn. It's got some authority to it. Yeah, I'm a fan of this. I mean, this car doesn't necessarily stand out to me in any way, but I think it just does everything so well that it would be hard to not recommend it. If you're shopping in this class, this is a nice contender. I wonder if somebody has that My Drive mode set up for sport powertrain. Okay, back into eco, and we're somehow still ending at about 27 MPG, even with that spirited section. This does not have, that I've seen anywhere, a way to lock this into EV mode like you'd see on some Toyotas. But that's okay, because usually those buttons, they're only good like under 20 miles an hour anyway. Here we go. I've actually got some charge in this battery now, so I can actually drive this in EV. There you go, 20 miles an hour, 21. This is the kind of driving that hybrids like. What do you guys think? Should we actually park this today? Let's see. Yeah, very easy to park, and then you can check your work with the physical button there. Into park, sometimes it will automatically set the electronic parking brake if it senses you're on an incline. Otherwise, you pull that towards yourself. It's in a little bit of a weird spot because it hides behind the steering wheel, but once you've done it a couple times, you remember. And then this has a little bit of an outro sound that it plays. So that's fun, but you know, this is similar to my final thoughts on the Sorento that I was driving last week. This car is very good at doing lots of things, and I'm satisfied with just about everything in it. But there's really not anything about it that is like groundbreaking, but I think that's okay. I don't think that cars in this segment really have to be groundbreaking. I think they have to have just enough variety to where people can actually choose. And I think this one may stand out just enough because it's so good to drive, it's so easy, and stuff in it just makes sense. So there you go. There's my take on the newly facelifted 2026 Kia Sportage Hybrid. I do love this heritage blue color. We need more kind of like pastels like this. And the gray interior, actually, the spec on this is quite nice. I meant to say that earlier in the video, but no, this is a nice car. I've been happy driving it for the past few days, and it's just an easy daily driver experience. So if I've left anything out, please let me know, but that'll do it for me today. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Take care.